How does it feel, Mark Pope? The first question they ask him. So how does it feel to be the 15th choice that Kentucky had on their list?
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm
People
rich.
always say
He's
like
gonna say,
that.
I'm rich, bitch.
You know what? Here's the deal. I wasn't my wife's first choice. I wasn't my wife's second choice, but she's still my damn wife. Guess what?
You know what? That'd be a great line. That would be perfect. That's exactly what you say. But yeah, listen, he's the guy that has to follow the guy. I know Coach Cal only had one national championship in the decade and a half that he was there in Kentucky, but the reality of it is that program was really good and was a contender every single year. The question now becomes, does Mark Pope still try to go after a lot of one-and-dones?
Yeah.
Does he start looking at this with a different approach? I think it's a different approach, too. I think Kentucky basketball is going to start to look very different over the next few years.
Also, how funny is it, because all the rumors were that the AD, Barnhart, wanted somebody that was, like, completely squeaky clean, and now we get Mark Pope, Mormon, from BYU.
There you go.
Probably doesn't drink coffee. Probably doesn't drink alcohol.
Nice and clean.
Goes to Lexington with squeakiest squeak you can get.
That's tough for him though, because that's bourbon country. I was out there not too long ago, man. It just smells like mash.
Yeah, I think that you look at the players that are around him too, right? Like if there was just a John Rahm around, somebody that I could trust, right? Like, I don't know. I know Patrick Reed's sort of in the mix, but he was suspended play. Like, if there was somebody who was like a former major winner or a former Masters winner, that was like right there, that's name wasn't Bryson DeChambeau, then I would feel like maybe there was a shot. But the fact that like nobody trustworthy is even close definitely makes me feel like by 24 hours from now, Scottie Scheffler will be minus money.
Yeah, like there was a reason he was 4-1 to win the Masters.
Yep.
The biggest favorite.
Max Homa is and listen, he only got 13 holes in, but Max Homa is probably, and I don't think Max Homa is winning the Masters, but at some point he's got to win something like important.
We keep saying this about him.
He's
though.
a good player.
Right.
He's a really good player.
Right.
He just can't get over the hump in big tournaments. But like maybe Danny Willett, he finished. He's 4 under, but not really.
Yeah.
Many of us were very skeptical, and I still am skeptical about how DeChambeau is going to finish. Would you bet him in any markets for the rest of the tournament, given how hot his start has been?
I wouldn't. However, again, it's tough to overreact, but there's some key statistics. If you're looking to bet at this point for the listeners, and a base point is that anyone within 5 strokes of the lead, 26 of the last 30 Masters champions were within 5 shots of the lead, and more so, 17 of the last 18 were within the top 10. So there's kind of your baseline. If you're looking for the guys that are going to win, those are your guys, 2 under or better. That leaves out Rory McIlroy, who came in with a bogey at 17. So it really left a couple strokes out there, it sounds like, on the coming in. He didn't birdie either of the par 5s on the back 9. But that's kind of your baseline. There are some plenty of players who are going to still have quite long odds. And if you want to look beyond a Danny Willett or even a Ryan Fox who can really hit it, I think Cam Davis is close to finishing up. He's up in there at 3 under, and Terrell Hatton's on the back 9. He's 3 under. Those guys, you're going to see some adjusted odds, pretty good prices still, along with the guys at 2 under, which I have Will Zalatoris. I was pretty high on Will this tournament. He bogeyed his last 2 holes, but he's 2 under along with Corey Connors. And you're going to see these guys have a chance still at pretty long odds. I think Rory's about 20-1 right now on the adjusted market.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it, and for whatever reason, back down to 16-1 for Rory. I was going to ask you about Zalatoris, but we're also on Zalatoris this weekend. What are your thoughts right now on Neiman and then Brooks Koepka, who are both in like the 28-1 range? Like you said, within 5 strokes right now, but just your thoughts on them moving forward the rest of the tournament.
Well, Brooks obviously was one of the pre-tournament favorites and contenders based on not only his play, but again, last year he's the 3rd-round leader going in by 2 going into the last year's Masters final round and couldn't quite hold off Scheffler and didn't play as well. Neiman has been the best player on the LIV Golf Tour this year, and he showed, I think, in this round, he can really hit it. You don't have the same statistical profiles. It's somewhat limited on some of the advanced stats on the LIV Tour, so it's harder to gauge. But a number of those guys are doing pretty well. It looks like Patrick Reed, I think, is around 2 under, but Neiman is somebody I think as well. if you didn't bet these guys, I prefer to bet the matchups, head-to-head matchups, maybe look at some rounds. And I'll analyze a lot of I'll dig deeper into the stats tonight and see kind of who's playing well to the green, around the green, and then look at some history of who's playing well in the wind, especially if you're making any round 2 bets. And then what you want to look at is some of the adjusted odds, maybe for still a top finishing position, because that's what I focused on before the tournament, was looking at Zalatoris top 20, Corey Connors top 20. So those guys are in there for me, but I also thought Schauffele would do well. He battled back to get back to even today, but he's got a ways to go. And it's still early, but guys are obviously that are down there around 1 under or worse, they're going to have to make a little move up, because if Scheffler doesn't, hopefully he cools off some, but
they have the ugliest style of basketball that we've ever seen, and they continuously win only when it matters the most. That's the Miami Heat. 15-1, Miami Heat. Their ceiling is the finals. That's what their ceiling is. That's what we've seen them do.
I put a little sprinkle on them at 15-1 to win the East.
15-1 to win the East.
Yeah.
Also, the Knicks at 16 to win the East. I just like those prices.
Does that Knicks price feel a little off to you? Like 16-1.
For Cavs, a team that's like could be a 3 seed?
Yeah. Like the fact
I think it's because of the Randall injury.
Yeah, for sure.
The Cavs are 15-1 though, and the Knicks are 16-1. I know it's close, but I'm just surprised that the Knicks are even. I know Randall's not playing.
The real issue is like that the Sixers are plus 850 in the play-in tournament, and the Knicks are potentially going to be the 2 seed,
right?
And they're 16-1.
Yeah.
That's disrespect to a whole new level.
The Orioles are 6-1 to win the AL. Do we put them in the contender category or the pretender? I think they're a year or two away from still being considered a true contender. They're really young. They're really talented and have the chance to be, great for a decade. But I'm not ready to call them contenders yet.
I think they're going to win it.
I think I consider them a contender, yeah.
I
don't know if I can.
They're like that team.
And I love the Orioles. Yeah, I've been raving about them.
I wouldn't be shocked if they were in the World Series.
Sometimes it's good for these teams to be young. Like some of these teams, it's all about how they have to stay healthy, right? I love the Corbin Burns pickup.
Yep.
And yeah, man, the only thing I worry about a little bit is if you had a healthy closer. Craig Kimbrell scares me a little bit.
Well, Kyle Bradish should be coming back soon too for them, which is a big help.
I like that if they're down 3-4 runs late though, like they're never out of games. Yeah, I feel pretty good about them. 12-1.
PJ,
don't hate it.
Contender, pretender, your Orioles.
Contender.
All right, okay. Then I'm going to be the one that's going to be eating crow when it's. Look, I love him.